You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Headlines. My name is Joyce DeRiga. I'm editor of Chicago Catholic, and this is where we take a closer look at the people making the news that we're publishing in the newspaper for the Archdiocese of Chicago. And today we have a very special ministry that we're focusing on. It's from St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville, where they have a bed ministry where they actually make by hand beds for children in need. So today we have Dan Palmieri and Dennis Valentini joining us from St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Joyce.
Welcome, Joyce. How are you? Good.
Well, thank you. So Dan, why don't you get us started? Tell us how the ministry got started, and because it started out as a different ministry, right? And then it kind of morphed into things, and what all it entails.
We started out as a chapter of a national organization in the fall of 2018, and that national organization is Sleep in Heavenly Peace. We were a local chapter of them, and so that's in the article in the newspaper referenced Dan Harris. He had heard a podcast that got his heart on fire and sent him to those people. But about a year ago, a little over a year ago, for several reasons, no animosity, but we decided to separate from Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And we now are the bed ministry of St. Joseph's Catholic Church at Libertyville. I guess almost 4.5 years that we've been building and delivering beds to children in need.
That's what's so amazing. We were talking before we went on the air about just the specialness of the ministry. And obviously St. Joseph was a carpenter, so it really fits into, the patronage of your church. But can you talk about how you guys do it? There's 2 workshops, right? On the, we've driven past them 100 times in Libertyville.
Originally we would use the shop, which is the shop that Dan Harris uses as our facility managers to manage the facilities. And then in the early days, we would send teens to Harlan County, Kentucky on a mission trip to make places warmer, safer, and drier in that area of our country. And so we would bring the teens into that shop, and we kind of built like a wood shop to teach them woodworking and how to use the tools. And that can handle so many. I mean, it's just so big. And we do have a space here on campus that was vacant. And so we received permission to move to that space, which allows us to have more volunteers on our Tuesday night bed builds, which we'll have one tonight. We have one every Tuesday from 6 to 8. And it just allows us to have more people come in and ready the components, the bed components, the frame, if you will, to then go out and, so there's like a 2-phase thing. There's the bed build, and then there's the delivery, which Dennis manages for us, and he manages it very well. Having the 2 spaces has been, it's gotten us through the winter. We a lot of times when it gets nicer, we set up the tables outside, and we do a lot of sanding. The wood requires a lot of sanding, the components to be ready for the children. And so, we're very fortunate to have that space.
So how do you find the children?
Basically, we work with several agencies. We work with Catholic Charities, DCFS, A Safe Place up in Zion, CASA, which is a court-appointed social advocate, and other agencies around. There's a couple more in Waukegan. So we do get some referrals from them. But we also have a website, sjbeds.org, where people can go to that website. It explains our ministry, and it gives them a chance, if they need a bed, to fill out a application on the bottom and request a bed. And those requests come to us instantaneously via email, and we take those requests and then we try to touch base with the people and find out what type of beds they need, because we offer twin size singles or twin size bunks, and then we try to work a schedule where we can deliver and go to their place. So we take the beds knocked down. They're not put together. We take the components into their home. We put them together. We put the mattress, the sheet set, the comforter, and the pillow, and it's a complete bed. So through the other agencies, through people going to our website, and then referrals, because once we go to one area, they'll tell their neighbor and they'll go and they'll request a bed. Right now, we have 210 families, open cases, and 438 beds to deliver. We started when Dan Harris had gotten a hold of 3 school districts. We're up over 700, and we've knocked that down. So we're doing a monthly, what we call Delivery Day of Abundance. We did one in December. We just did one on April 15th. We have one scheduled for May, June, July, and August, and we hope to cut that number down and get it to where it's a little bit more manageable.
Wow. So I'm just astonished. You know, we were, again, before we got on the air, we were talking about this. You don't think about beds. Like, it just seems like something in my world, my suburban world of, I've never been without a bed. So when you think that there's that many children who need beds,
it's something that most of us take for granted, including myself. When I joined the ministry in January of 19, I went out on a delivery with Dan Harris, and I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It blows your mind. And now here we are, 4.5 years into it, and 1,357 beds delivered already, and 428 more to deliver that we have open cases for. So it shows there's definitely a need out there that we are trying to take care of.
Wow. How do you get the supplies? Do you do your own fundraising? Does the parish support you? How does all that come together? Do you get donations?
All of the above. The parish does support us. St. Joe's does support us, and that's the idea behind that is so our parishioners can come in on the Tuesday nights and help build. They can go along with Dennis and the other delivery teams and deliver. We sense this abundant need. I mean, and the need is substantial, which came in last fall. We've partnered with other churches, Holy Cross Catholic Church in Inverness. They sent on 3 different Sundays. So we opened up the shop on a Sunday, which we're not just locked into the Tuesday night, but they sent some 7th and 8th graders that are preparing for confirmation. And they did some bedding drives for us. And then we also set a bed up in their narthex over Valentine's weekend, just this past February, and they did a bake sale and raised money, donated it to the ministry. So we are really trying to, St. Raphael and Antioch did a bedding drive for us. And so when Dennis talks about these Delivery Day of Abundance, and next Sunday we're going to hear in John's Gospel, and it's really one of my go-to verses is John 10:10. So where Jesus says, I came so that they would have life and have it abundance. That's what we wrap our Delivery Day of Abundance around. But on April 15th, when we went to Waukegan, 83 children on that day received a bed. But that kind of takes our stock of bedding. Now, just yesterday, Dennis took in some more bedding from a group from Lake Forest Hospital, their community outreach group from within the hospital, and they've come and done builds with us. So, yeah, we rely a lot on donations and neighbor helping neighbor, brother helping brother, sister helping sister.
That's just absolutely amazing. How much does it cost, you think, to put together a bed?
Our cost of a bed right now the wood and the materials and the bedding and the mattresses and everything is about $250 is our cost right now.
Okay, so people could donate, if they wanted to write a check, or that's just
They can donate a bed, writing a check for $250 for us. Like Dan mentioned, the Lake Forest group, the Lake Forest Hospital, Northwestern Lake Forest, the nurses and some of the workers there. She dropped off 28 complete bedding sets and 6 pillows to me at 3:00 yesterday afternoon, and we're trying to build our stock up for the next one, which is going to be in Round Lake, where we need to do 99 beds in that day.
Wow, that's just tremendous. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
And we're gonna, on that day, we're gonna, we're just in the early planning, but we hope to partner with St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Round Lake. And so how that looks is the components show up in trucks, vans. We caravan over there from our storage areas here. We set up in that parking lot. Then our delivery teams come. Dennis has all the paperwork ready. All the cases have been vetted. We know if it's a 7-year-old girl or a 5-year-old boy, the bedding is appropriate towards that. It all gets put together, and then our volunteers, we just load them up, send them out. They come back. We were treated to lunch on April 15th in Waukegan. Germano's provided lunch, so it's a lot of people helping out.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's really, for me, it's just, we're called to be his hands and his eyes and his ears and his heart, and so that's what we do when we do this ministry.
So we're going to come up on a break here, but we again mentioned that when we talked offline about some of the personal stories, the people, how it really impacts the families and the children and what you've heard. So when we come back from the break, we'll talk about that. How's that?
Good, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship programs provide a free opportunity for young adults to spend time with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youth aged 9 through 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports every relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that can help young adults build confidence and enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. To learn more, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7970 in Cook County and 847-782-4224 in Lake County. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today.
People always say, how can you spend your day with 3-year-olds? Seeing the changes that they go through and just the journey and how they grow, this is a very rewarding job. Even though at the end of the day, we're not the highest paid people on earth. And when I have a parent contact me and say, my child loves school, that to me, I'm setting that foundation for their love of learning, because really you are changing lives, you are molding lives.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
In the Lake County News.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. My name is Joyce Doriga. I'm editor of Chicago Catholic, and this is where we take a look at the people making the news that we're covering in the paper. Before we go back to our guests, I want to give a quick shout out to the paper. You can check us out at chicagocatholic.com. You can subscribe. We come out about every 2 weeks. There's a couple weeks in there that we have an extra week off, but and for $30, you can sign up for a year, and that helps support our ministry. You can also sign up for our e-newsletter that we send out about 3 times a week. Follow us on social media. You'll see what's going on with Cardinal Supich. She's a frequent writer in the newspaper, and what the Pope's doing and all that kind of stuff. So that's chicagocatholic.com. So back to our guests, Dan Palmieri and Dennis Valentini. We've got this bed ministry at St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville that builds and provides beds for children who don't have them. So before the break, we talked about the experiences you have with the people. Can you share some stories about the families and the reaction of the children and anything that's on your heart?
Sure, certainly. There's a couple of instances I can share with you. I've been out on a large number of the deliveries personally, and one was very interesting. Dan Harris got a call from the police chief of Wakanda about a family that had lost their mother due to COVID, and it was a father and 5 boys, and they were all sleeping in one broken down bunk bed. So we all got together. This was about 2.5 years ago. We got together, myself, another delivery person, and Dan. We met the police chief out there, and we went into their apartment, and we delivered 2 complete bunk beds for the 4 children. And we also happened to have a twin size regular adult bed with a box spring that had been donated to us. So we brought that for the father. And it was a very heartwarming experience to be able to help a family like that. And we run into many, many, many instances like that. Another one was just at the end of last year. We were up in Zion, and Dan Palmieri happened to be on the delivery that day, and we delivered a bunk bed to a family up in Zion. And as Dan and Mark were putting the bunk bed together, I was conversing with the mother. She didn't speak a lot of English, so she was using her iPhone with the translation on there, and we were able to converse. And I found out that one of the little boys was autistic, and they had been sleeping in a broken down bed. So we got it all finished. And we left, and she gave us all a hug. She was so excited and just so thankful for what we did that day. And later on, I got a text with a picture of the little autistic boy up in the top bunk with his Ernie and his dolls and everything. And she said he got in his new bed and he won't get out. So these are just some of the stories that you run into when you're out there, that it warms your heart. It's what it's all about, is getting the beds to those kids that didn't have them. So,
Amen, Dennis. And there was another one. I've moved more into the shop space. I have we did this through COVID, and personally, I had a little health scare, and so I was, trying to be very cautious with that as well. But we delivered to a family The children were at school, and we built a bunk bed, and then Dennis received a text later on of the children coming home from school, and mom and dad had made it a surprise for them. But the little boy climbed up on his bunk bed, and these were his words. He said, "Mom, you don't have to come in and check on me anymore."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Early on, this was early 2019, so we were just getting going, and Dan Harris and I were in Deerfield, and the mom had sent the young, I think he was maybe like 9 years old, but while we were putting the bed together, which takes, 15 or 20 minutes, Dennis can probably, do it a little quicker than me. But anyhow, he was in the basement when he came back. We just invited him to come down the hallway, and he looked into his room, and there was his bed, and we were like, go take us, go lay down and go check it out. And he sat down on his bed and he looked at Dan Harris and I, and he goes, "You guys are awesome." So, I mean, that's what happens. When we did the Delivery Day of Abundance in Waukegan, one of our delivery teams came back, and they built 2 bunk beds in a little room. Damien was one of the boys that got a bed. It was Damien's 9th birthday. That's just the Holy Spirit at work. So we are just, again, doing his work. So that's just a couple stories, recent, early in the ministry, and they just keep happening, right? It's so nice when the families reach back out to the delivery teams, or, we take pictures while we're there, and pictures with the kids in the beds, and that just, that puts flesh to it, right?
Wow. How has it impacted the volunteers too? Have you seen that you're getting more people as you move along? And
Absolutely. We've gotten a lot of people volunteer for the bed builds, organizations, Lake Forest,
okay.
Northwestern. This Thursday, we're going to be doing 2 sessions with Lake Forest Academy, one from 10 to 12 and one from 1 to 3. 2 groups of kids with their teachers are going to come in. A lot of other churches, and like Dan said, Holy Family from out in Inverness, and others. And we have picked up recently a lot more delivery. I had a very small group of delivery people that would go out, because we do a lot of deliveries during the week. So a lot of us are retired. We have the ability to do that. And then we have a couple of groups that like to go out on Saturday deliveries. Well, this past weekend, April 15th, when we did the Day of Abundance in Waukegan, we picked up several more that would like to do more deliveries. So that helps a lot great for us too.
Wow.
And even, on that point, so we have some regulars, I'll call them, that come in on the Tuesday nights. So there's 2 gentlemen, retired carpenters, and I mean, it's 2 hours. One of them keeps himself busy. He makes birdhouses, for friends and family. But I just think they like the smell of pine. But there's a community that is developing there too. They at least they know they will see each other for a couple hours every Tuesday.
Right.
If they come to a build. But Dennis was talking on Saturday. We're going to open up the shop, and the Notre Dame Club of Lake County is going to come in and do a build, so the build teams, the delivery teams, and we need, the help is helpful. More hands make for easier work.
And do you have to know, or do you have to have any kind of carpentry skill, or can you just come and somebody there will help you out?
No, there's many things that we do. We bring the wood in ahead of time. We cut it, we stack it, and we plane it, and we route some of the pieces. And then when we have the builds, we do a lot of people doing sanding. It's very important that we sand this wood, the bed legs and the main rails, because we don't want the kids to get a sliver or anything. We're dealing with wood here. And then we dip them in a solution of vinegar and steel wool to put a little bit of preservative and give it a little bit of a color. And so no, there are no skills necessary. When someone comes, we show them the tapping and the drilling and the sanding and the assembly of the bed legs, and they get it right away.
actually the cover of the newspaper this week is 3 children that came to a build. So they came with mom, and they put in the 2 hours, and we find things for them to do. The slats that hold the mattress up, we package them in each twin bed gets 9 slats, and then we tape that up. So as the build manager, that's what I had them start doing. But then they came into the shop, and as we run this wood through a planer, the leftover is collected into a big vacuum bag that has to then be dumped. And we partner with Lamb's Farm. We have a parishioner that has a horse, and another farm, Dan Harris's brother, that then take that because it accumulates. Well, while we were emptying the bag into the big black bag, I was telling the children that story, how we partner with Lambs. And this little girl, she looks up and she said, and I said, they use it for bedding for their gerbils and their hamsters and in that little farm store that they have there. And she said, so not only are we building beds for children, but we're also building beds for animals. So yeah, I mean, back to your question, no experience necessary. We try to give you some training. If you feel uncomfortable, just let any one of us know, and we'll find something. Safety is important when we're in the shop. We have first aid available if we need it. But yeah, I mean, from young children, all the way up.
I think it's tremendous too that you provide volunteer opportunities for other groups, right? Like you said, Lake County Notre Dame Club is coming in to do some service, so it's a bigger, and maybe, plug Renew My Church. Maybe that's kind of like an example of you're going, it's an outreach. It's a side effect of the ministry is this outreach that's going out into the community, not just into the homes of the families who get the beds, but, so the wider, got an evangelization bonus coming out of your ministry.
No, but your point is very well taken, Joyce. One of the side benefits of what we do is exactly what you said, community building. Okay, we get groups together and they bond around this, and they've adopted it, and they come and they love doing it, and they come back again and again. In the summer, it's great when we can go outside and set all the tables up. We can handle groups of 60, 70, 80 on a build in the summertime when it's outside. But a community building is very important side thing of what we do here.
Wow. Tremendous.
And Christian, right? Christian community. Yeah.
Right. So tell us the website again. We're running low on time, so people can check it out.
www.sjbeds.org. That's where they can look. That takes them right to the parish website, to the link where our bed ministry, which is part of our social justice ministry, it has an explanation of the ministry, and down below on the bottom of it, a family can request a bed.
And if they want to come and volunteer,
there's a link. There's a link to I Volunteer, and they can see that we are Tuesday night bed builds, and they can volunteer to join us at one of the bed builds also on that same website. Correct. Okay.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on today. Again, this is for those of you who are listening or tuning in. This is Dan Palmieri and Dennis Valentini from the St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville, their bed ministry. It's tremendous. I mean, like I said during the break, I get choked up and just thinking about what you're doing, and it's just such a great expression of the gospel, right? And it's faith in action, and keep up the good work. And I hope to get out there for one of the days of abundance. What did you call them? Abundance.
Delivery Day of Abundance.
Delivery Days of Abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. So that's it for Beyond the Headlines. Again, you can check us out at chicagocatholic.com. And until we see you next time, have a gentle and joyful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye now.